After what feels like an eternity, 7 long years, the wait is almost over. Crimson Desert is roaring to life with a simultaneous worldwide release on March 19th, 2026. For years, with every trailer and every tidbit of info we've been getting, we've all been calling it the next massive open world RPG, the heir to the throne of genre giants. But after digging into every last detail from Pearl Abyss, I've got to tell you, that's not what this game is. For years, the developer has been pretty clear, but the hype train has been so loud, it's drowned out the truth. So before you drop your cash, before you start preloading all 150 gigabytes of it, I'm here to cut through the noise. I'm going to give you the raw, unfiltered truth on what Crimson Desert actually is. In my opinion, it's a real genre, its ridiculously deep gameplay systems, and its unique story setup. This is the Crimson Desert you weren't expecting. So what's the big misunderstanding here? For years, the massive shadow of Pearl Abyss's other huge title, Black Desert Online, has led everyone to believe Crimson Desert would be its single-player, spiritual successor, a stat-heavy, class-based RPG, but that's not the game they made. Pearl Abyss has consistently called it an open-world action-adventure game. This isn't just marketing fluff, it's a core statement about the game's entire design. The experience isn't about grinding levels or min-maxing stat points. It's all about direct, skill-based action, exploring a huge and reactive world, and a progression system that feels way more like The Legend of Zelda than a traditional RPG. They completely stripped out the MMO features and have gone all in on a focused, single-player adventure. The hype painted one picture, but the reality is something far more unique and honestly, probably a lot more interesting. So let's break down what that really means. The absolute most important thing to get before you even think about playing Crimson Desert is that this is an action-adventure game first and foremost. So what does that actually mean, Alonso? Well, in a typical RPG, your character's power is a direct result of their level and stats, correct? You can be the most skilled player in the world, but if your level's too low for an area, you're toast. Victory is a numbers game. Crimson Desert just throws that whole idea out. There's no traditional leveling system. You won't be killing boars in the woods for hours to fill an XP bar. Your power, your growth, and your ability to survive on the dangerous continent of Pywil are tied to something else entirely. The main progression system is built around items called Abyss artifacts. You'll find these everywhere. By finishing big story quests, taking down powerful bosses, solving puzzles in the environment, and just exploring the massive world itself. These artifacts are what gives you your core stat boosts, mostly to your health and stamina. This whole approach should ring a bell for anyone who's played a modern Zelda game. I'm talking Breath of the Wild up Tears of the Kingdom, of course. Your growth is tied directly to what you accomplish and you drive to explore, not some abstract experience meter. This one choice changes everything about the game. It means there are no artificial barriers. If you can see a mountain on the horizon, you could probably go there from the very start, to be honest. However, since enemies don't scale to your level, your actual skill is the only thing keeping you from getting absolutely wrecked. You absolutely can and will wander into places where enemies will one-shot you. This creates a real sense of danger and discovery where your knowledge of the world and your mastery of the combat are what truly define your power. The game isn't asking, is your level high enough? It's asking, are you good enough? It's a complete shift away from the RPG mindset. You're not building a character in a spreadsheet, you're building your own skills as a player. The RPG elements that exist serve this action-adventure core, but the foundation is this. Your brain and your reflexes are most important stats. If the progression is the game's skeleton, then the combat is its heart and it's pumping pure adrenaline. This is not slow turn-based combat of many RPGs. This is a deep, technical, skill-based system that has more in common with action games like, I don't know, Devil May Cry, or even combo-heavy fighting games. It's fast, fluid, and can get wonderfully chaotic. On the surface, you've got your usual moves, light attacks, heavy attacks, dodges, and parries, right? But that's just scratching the surface here. The real depth appears when you start stringing things together. The combo potential is massive, letting you launch guys into the air, juggle them with a flurry of strikes, and then slam them back on the ground. But where it really gets its own identity is the grappling system. This isn't just a simple graph. The main character, Cliff, can pull off a wild array of wrestling moves, including suplexes, body slams, and your powerful throws that you can use for crowd control. Sorry. Or to deal huge damage to one tough enemy. It adds a brutal physical weight to the combat that few games even try to pull off. On top of that, you're not locked into one fighting style. The game has dynamic weapon swapping system, letting you switch between swords, axes, spears, and even primitive firearms right in the middle of a combo. This isn't just for style points. Different enemies have different weaknesses, and you'll have to adapt on the fly. You might use a spear to keep a charging monster at a distance, swap to your sword for close-up damage, and then quick draw a musket to pick off a sniper on a ledge, all in one seamless, fluid motion. Then you have elemental effects. You can imbue your weapons with fire or ice, which directly impacts enemies and the world around you. A fired sword might set an enemy ablaze for damage over time, while an ice attack could freeze a puddle, creating a trap for your enemies or a temporary bridge for you to cross. This constant interaction between your powers and the world is a core part of the experience, pushing you to get creative. And you'll need every tool you can get because the enemies in Crimson Desert are no joke. Pearl Abyss designed the AI to be aggressive and relentless. They don't politely wait their turn to attack you. This all extends to the boss battles, which look to be a massive highlight. These aren't just damage sponges, they're huge, multi-stage fights that will test every single skill that you've got, feeling more like a showdown from Dragon's Dogma or Shadow of the Colossus. Defeating them is how you learn some of their signature abilities and get specific, valuable rewards you can't get anywhere else. Because there's no level scaling, running into a world boss too early is a death sentence. But beating one through pure skill and determination will give you real, tangible rewards. The combat in Crimson Desert is a skill you have to learn, a brutal dance to be mastered, if you will. It can be overwhelming, but for players willing to dive into its depth, it promises to be one of the most rewarding combat systems out there. While gameplay is clearly the main event, it's all wrapped up in a compelling story. You play as Cliff, leader of a mercenary group called the Grey Mains. The story kicks off right after a brutal betrayal. Cliff's former allies, the Black Bears, ambush him, leave him for dead, and scatter his company. The main plot is all about survival and revenge. Your goal is to find the scattered members of your crew, rebuild the Grey Mains, and get payback. This journey takes you across the continent of Pywell, a land caught in its own conflicts between kingdoms and mysterious forces. Don't go in expecting the deep, branching dialogue and complex moral choices of something like The Witcher 3, okay? Crimson Desert's story is more focused, acting as a glue for its amazing exploration and combat. For players who are here for action more than talking, Pearl Abyss even included the option to skip or fast forward through cutscenes. A clear sign they want you back in the action ASAP, as fast as possible. One of the coolest features tied to the story is the ability to switch between multiple characters on the fly. While Cliff is the main hero, you'll get to control his key companions, like Unka and Damiane. This system has been compared to the character swapping in Grand Theft Auto 5, offering strategic options in combat and a different view of the world. Each character has their own unique skills and weapons, and mastering when to switch will be a big part of a high-level play. The story is also tied directly into the game's other systems. As you rebuild the Grey Mains, you'll get a base of operations to build and upgrade, similar to Metal Gear 5. 6? From here, you manage your company, send your allies on missions to gather resources or weaken enemy forts, and really feel like a mercenary captain. You'll even manage a farm and ranch. The story isn't just a string of cutscenes, it's woven into the gameplay. Giving your actions a clear purpose, restore the honor of the Grey Mains. The continent of Pywell isn't just a backdrop, though. It's a giant, seamless, and super interactive playground. Pearl Abyss says the world is built on their proprietary Black Space engine, which is designed to create these massive landscapes with no loading screens, making for a total immersive journey. Getting around is one of the most exciting parts of Crimson Desert, I'll tell you. The developers have clearly taken notes from the best in the business, giving you an awesome set of movement tools that makes you just getting from point A to point B feel fun as... You have a versatile climbing system that lets you scale almost any surface, a triple jump for extra height, and a glider for soaring through the sky. Tears of the Kingdom. But the real start of the show might be the grappling hook. This isn't a simple point and zip tool. It acts more like a physics-based web slinger, letting you swing through forests and canyons with incredible speed and style. It also has uses in combat like a cannonball move where you can launch yourself onto a group of enemies to start a fight with a bang. Of course, you'll have mounts, and Crimson Desert takes this to a whole new level. While you have a horse for normal travel, the options get fantastical fast. You'll be able to ride bears, raptors, and even dragons and mechs. The world is also packed with puzzles that are tied into your gameplay tools. A lot like Zelda, you'll need to use your combat and traversal abilities in smart ways to solve environmental challenges. You might use your ice powers to freeze a lake to cross it, or use an ability similar to Link's Ultra Hand to move objects around. Exploration is constantly rewarded with more than just a nice view. It gets you those Abyss artifacts, new gear, and access to hidden areas like the Zelda-inspired Sky Islands. Pyrewell is a world you're meant to conquer, not just with brute force, but with curiosity and creativity. If Crimson Desert isn't a classic RPG, what are the elements that have everyone so confused? The game does have progression, but it all serves the action-adventure gameplay. As mentioned, your core stats like health and stamina are boosted by finding Abyss artifacts. However, you can still customize your playstyles in other ways. Each playable character has their own skill tree where you can unlock new moves. In a really cool twist, some new moves can even be learned just by watching NPCs or bosses perform them in the world, like a comedic but effective belly flop attack. This encourages you to really pay attention to the world, since a new combat technique could come from anywhere or anyone. Gear also matters. You have equipment slots for Abyss gear, which provides specific bonuses like faster attack speed or higher critical hit chances. This is where the light build crafting comes into play. While you aren't tweaking base stats like strength, you can pick gear that fits your style, more like Hogwarts Legacy. If you love fast combos, you'll want to stack attack speed. It's a system that's more about customization than deep numerical RPG progression. Beyond all the fighting and exploring, Pyrewell is filled with a staggering number of side activities and mini-games. This is where the life simulator side of the game shines. You can craft resources by mining and chopping trees. There's a faction control system and even a crime and bounty system if you want to walk a darker path. And then there are the minigames. The list is long: a full cooking system, fishing, a card game, arm wrestling, horseback racing, and target shooting. These aren't just little distractions, they're fully developed systems that can give you valuable rewards and a nice break from the intense combat. You can really get lost in this world, living the life of a mercenary who enjoys a bit of fishing and a round of cards at the pub after a long day. An ambitious world like this needs some serious tech, and a huge question has been performance. Pearl Abyss has focused heavily on optimization with their Black Space engine. The great news for PC players is that they've confirmed the game is playable on a wide range of hardware, with minimum specs targeting a GTX 1060. The game will also support Macs. Very little has been shown for the base PS5 or the Xbox Series X and S. We don't have official performance targets for quality or performance modes on consoles yet, so that remains the biggest question mark heading into launch. You'll want to clear some space, as the PC version requires 150 gigabytes of storage, with the console versions expected to be in a similar range. This is a premium buy-to-play game with no microtransactions planned for launch. It also supports Xbox Play Anywhere, which is a fantastic bonus, but it runs digitally on Xbox and you get the full PC version too. So, who is this game for? After all that, we'll land on the big question: who's Crimson Desert really for? Everybody! Now, based on everything we've seen, this isn't a game for everyone. And it's definitely not for the player looking for a slow burn, narrative-heavy RPG like Pillars of Eternity or even The Elder Scrolls. This game is for the action junkies. It's for the players who love the technical combat of Devil May Cry, the epic boss fights of Dragon's Dogma, and the challenge of a tough action game like Ninja Gaiden. It's for someone who sees a deep combo system not as a chore, but as a mountain to be climbed. This game is also for the explorers. It's for the players who fell in love with the freedom of Breath of the Wild and want a world that is true playground. If your idea of a good time is swinging through a forest with a grappling hook, climbing the tallest mountain just to see what's there, and using your powers to creatively solve puzzles, then Crimson Desert was made for you. On the other hand, players who get easily overwhelmed by complex systems might find it a lot to handle. The combat is fast and aggressive, and the sheer number of activities could be intimidating for some players. If you're looking for a more relaxing story-first experience where you can slowly build a character with detailed stats, you might be let down by this one. This is a game about doing, about reacting, and about mastering a set of skills. Okay? So there you have it. Crimson Desert is not the traditional RPG many of us thought it would be. It is something else entirely. A wildly ambitious open world action adventure that puts player skill, emergent exploration, and spectacular fast paced combat above all else. It's a game that hands you a vast, beautiful, and dangerous world, gives you an incredible set of tools, particular set of skills. It just says go, survive, conquer. This is a game that looks ready to set a new bar for action and traversal in open worlds, but it is so important that players go in with the right expectations. This is a game of skill, not of stats. It's a game of action, not passive progression. Now I want to hear from you specifically. Has this information changed how you feel about Crimson Desert? Could you hear me properly? Are you more hyped now that you know it's a deep action game? Or were you hoping for more traditional RPG? Can you guess what color pants am I wearing? Or if I'm wearing any? Let me know what you think in the comments below, and if you enjoyed this breakdown and want more deep dives into the biggest upcoming releases, be sure to hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you don't miss our launch day coverage. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in Pywell.